Happy Halloween, folks! Welcome to Held Captive Media's Halloween special. Hey, baby! Let's fucking go. All right, so we've been talking about this all month long, and by the way, if you like spooky stuff, there's plenty of other videos on the channel you can watch right now, actually. You can go check out our House of Wax review, or other stuff. You can go watch that stuff right now. But if you did watch that stuff already, you might have heard me talking about the fact that we would be reviewing the original Halloween. And then we got around to it and we thought, now, what's everybody going to do on Halloween on YouTube? What is every film reviewer going to do? They're going to drop their review of the 78 classic, and people are going to like it or maybe not or whatever, but that's the standard move. And we thought, we innovate.
We decided
we elevate.
We're going to watch the best of all of them.
Whoa now. Hold on.
My new personal favorite.
Oh, man.
You know, I would believe that to a certain extent. No, we decided to tackle the insane,
the fever dream,
the wild,
the jarring
Halloween Resurrection. So Halloween Resurrection follows Sarah, a college student with some wacky tobacco-smoking friends and a few other college dicks, whom all enter a program in which they are tasked with investigating the childhood home of Michael Myers. All being recorded through a series of webcams set up by internet entertainment company called Dangertainment. Unbeknownst to them, Michael has been living beneath said house during his 3-year hiatus from murdering people, doing things like stabbing dolls, buying spices, and eating rats. Only recently turning back on his murder mode to eliminate Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, for 5 minutes. Also Busta Ryhmes. Lots of Busta Ryhmes. Holy shit, so much Busta Ryhmes. Halloween Resurrection was a desperate attempt to bring Halloween into the mainstream, trying to mimic the success of Scream and Blair Witch by making it almost entirely about the new age, found footage, and the internet. It was such a colossal flop critically, it actually killed the franchise until Zombie remade it several years later, making its name the ultimate irony. What do we think about it 20 years later? Let's jump into Halloween Resurrection. Okay, so you guys, from what we can tell, although people had certain memories about the movie, maybe they had seen clips of it on AMC growing up or on TV, but for the most part, this was your guys' first time sitting through Halloween Resurrection and enjoying the Dangertainment as it was presented.
I'm pretty sure I was able to entirely miss this one, and my life was better for it.
Come on. Come on.
I think it was fun in the setting in which we consumed it, which was all of us hanging out together and watching it.
And that was a part of it too, is, you know, I love Halloween so much. I have such a high, like, I just love it. It's my favorite horror franchise. And of course the original is one of my favorites, but I've talked about it so recently and it's just such a standard choice for people to review. I thought, let's like mix it up. Now, we'll eventually get to the original Halloween, so if you're looking out for that, just stay on the channel for as long as it takes us. Maybe a few years, maybe at least a year, I don't know. But regardless, this time I felt like Resurrection was the move. And interesting factoid about this movie, without getting into spoilers, which we'll jump into, and I feel like I spoiled a bit in my description, but I had to. A lot of the screams you heard, including by the main character, were not done by the main character.
You don't say. The lips didn't move in the same way.
No, come on. You had no idea. You thought the screaming was terrible. There was no way you knew that it wasn't her screaming.
Bro.
Or at least that it wasn't her scream.
I didn't know that it wasn't her scream, but I knew that they were superimposed.
Can I guess?
Bare minimum.
Go ahead.
Is it Tyra Banks screaming?
No, but that's a good guess.
Darn.
It's not anybody who's in the movie screaming.
Wow.
What they found was that the main character who needed to scream a lot, and even the role itself had to do with being able to scream, couldn't scream that effectively.
Wow.
So they hired a voice to do the screaming, and that voice also did the screaming during another person's murder. So, you know, there's a lot of reused screams in the middle of the movie. But regardless, this is such an insane time capsule from like the smallest understanding that Hollywood had of what the internet was going to be. And, you know, like for that, it's terrible, but like so fun to watch. Like, you cannot tell me you didn't have a blast.
So one of my favorite. Well, I don't. Okay.
No,
I
we'll
can't
get into spoilers. We'll do that in a second. But like, what were you gonna?
Just some of the technology that they showed that was like, oh my god, look at how amazing this is stuff that it's like, wow, that's really dumb. Like that was a thing. I forgot that existed in the world. Like, it's not a plot point at all, but there's a bit where she's like writing on a phone, and when she writes on it, it turns into text, and they were probably like, future. And it's like, that's awful. No, don't do that. That's not where technology is headed at all.
Yeah, like the stylists and everything.
It wasn't even a text message.
No.
It was a chat room.
And as they were
And
typing
she somehow
each
had
letter,
internet on her phone in the super early 2000s. I think not. That shit was expensive.
My dad would yell at me every time
And
I
do you
accidentally
think she got
clicked on the
Michael's
internet
Wi-Fi
button.
password? Do you think that's what it was?
Bruh, they were still rocking dial-up back then. Or at
That's a
least
good
I
point.
was growing up in the early 2000s. For a
Well,
long
where you
time.
lived, you probably had dial-up till like now.
Oh, yeah, they still do.
Yep, that's about what I thought. Yep, I knew it. I fucking knew it.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
So, yeah, like, okay, the core characters aren't really characters. Fair. I get that criticism. They're not characters. They don't act like characters. They each have like one small thing to their personality that's like not a character trait, and that's all they have.
And it's not even like they're archetypes. They're just
They kind of are. Sure.
each time like one of them I'm like, oh, like they're supposed to be this kind of archetype. They just do random stuff with no sort of rhyme or reason, and it doesn't even so much fit into their character.
Yeah.
It's just they're like the characters that you think are going to like be this archetype of like, oh, okay, I know how they're going to react. Then they'll just randomly be like, yeah, but we decided that didn't fit for how we wanted to write them, so we did something entirely different.
Wait. Who am I? Yeah, the whole time Michael's breathing like
Just
he's
very heavily.
yeah, he's
Like
acting
he's
like
so out of shape.
he's
but
acting like he just I don't know why you felt so powerful about this statement. You know what? I lost the joke. It doesn't. He's breathing really heavy, guys. LOL.
no, but he's like breathing like
Darth
he's constantly
Vader
out of
question
shape.
mark?
But he's
No,
like,
I had a snorkeling joke. The moment's gone. It was out there, but it would work.
Deep House?
No, no one cares about the deep house.
better than this.
No,
Less-
no, it's not.
Less fun than this, but
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. Is like, at least with this movie, it's really fun. It's pretty much fun the whole time.
had I watched this by myself, I
Oh
don't think I
yeah,
would've
no one would
enjoyed it.
ask you to do something like that.
This
If
is-
you're wanting to watch this, it's on Paramount Plus, by the way, at the time of recording this. If you guys want to watch this, watch it with some friends, maybe in Minecraft. You know, it'll be a lot of fun then.
This is easily the most hilarious Halloween movie out there.
It's gotta be. And you know what's
It's
crazy
so
about
funny.
it? It's not even the worst one. I mean,
You know?
decide it. It's probably the third worst. It's not even the second worst one in my opinion.
You know, you're not wrong.
Like, at least with this one, it's fun the whole time. You get a Jamie Lee in the beginning, right? Just a little bit, just a little chef's kiss, you know. And she doesn't. I think she says like 8 words in total, but whatever. And the movie is kind of like made for fans in a way, where there's so many callbacks to the older movies. There's there was that viral picture that they used for marketing way back in the day before they decided in 2 that like Michael and Laurie were siblings, where there was a picture of Jamie Lee Curtis kissing the Michael mask while Nick Castle was in the costume.
Yeah.
And they recreated that moment while she was hanging, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then she falls, and like, I won't give any specifics, but just that shot was
I was
insane.
gonna say we're getting a little spoilery.
It's still that's within the first 10 minutes of
It
the movie
is,
at
it
least.
is.
before the title card.
That's true. It is.
Yeah.
It's kind of the
All
intro,
right,
but
all
you
right.
know, you're right though. You're right.
Yeah.
I think that we'll just do better to just jump into the spoilers as soon as
Yeah.
possible. I think that if you want to watch this movie, it's an insane amount of fun, especially with friends. If you're looking for strong female characters, look elsewhere. But that's okay if you're if you're sensitive towards like the smallest amount of blackface, which is totally reasonable. There's also that in this movie.
Yeah,
that part's problematic.
happened.
I wasn't a fan of that. Wasn't a fan of that at all. But
it was also something that didn't need to happen, but it happened. So
yeah, no, there's plenty of stuff that there was a jump scare that didn't. There's a lot of things that didn't need to happen, but it still did.
what is your number score?
Well, first I just want to say, Tyra, you're a queen. You should have been more in this movie, and according to the deleted scenes, you were. Busta, you could have been less. You could have been a little less. Just a little. Cut a few scenes. That's fine. Okay, so for me, the score. Okay, so the experience is a 10 out of 10. Straight up. I had a great time watching it. I always have a great time watching it with friends. It's one of those ones that I'll like bust out for people. It's just a good time. But a number score, I'm going to give it a 6.
Okay.
Because I've seen really, really bad Halloween movies like that are almost incongruent and just terrible and like don't even make any sense. Sure, the reasons that they move from point A to point B don't always make sense to me in the sense where I'm like, why would somebody do that? But at least it's not like something random is happening that's never explained. You know, it's no Freddy's Nightmares. You know what I mean? Like the things that are happening are stupid, but they are explained. So I'll give them that. So it's a 6 for me, but a 10 experience. And like, I mean, I have the movie on Blu-ray. If they ever came out with a 4K release, I'd buy that. Like it's totally a Halloween movie. It's in the collection. It's in the greatest horror franchise ever, in my opinion. So good for it. Wins by association.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give this one a solid 4 out of 10.
Not as bad as I thought it would be.
It's a little bit too stuck in the early 2000s for me. It's just kind of locked there.
If it was made now the way it was then, like with the same script and everything, you'd be like, why is it trying so hard to be in the 2000s? But that's just what it was. You know what I mean?
It was.
But I agree with you. It's very dated.
It was super. It was a fun watch. I had a fun time watching it. It was hilarious. Is it the best Halloween movie? No.
It can't be because it never is scary. That's the one
No.
biggest critique I give it. It's an insane amount of fun, but there is not a single scary scene in the whole movie.
That's
not even like really a jumps. Like it doesn't even.
There's
make
a
me
jump scare, but it's not
hardly.
scary.
It's not.
No.
Yeah.
There's not one scary thing in the whole thing.
as far as being a horror movie or a movie with the idea that they are trying to unsettle or frighten you in some sort of way, I give it a 1. But as something that I found enjoyment through watching.
Why even air quotes? You were giggling the whole time like a schoolgirl. You loved
Because
it.
it wasn't meant to be. I enjoyed it the same way that I
think
enjoy The Room.
I think some of it was meant to be funny, and those things were kind of funny. But man, was it unfunny in the way it was trying to be funny sometimes, and also the inverse of that. Like, at times where it was trying to be really funny, it was terrible, and then at times where it was trying to be serious, it was even more funny because it was so bad.
And that's so I found some enjoyment from it. I'll give it a 3. But that's
not a
better
single
than
one.
The Rotten Tomato score.
Man, when we watch The Curse of Michael Myers, you guys are going to be missing Resurrection. I'll say that.
Let's go at it.
Okay, guys, we're going to get back into Resurrection in just a second. Now, Zane, I know you were dying to get into the nitty gritty of the movie and start spoiling stuff. You were going to say something before we're like, don't spoil it. Go ahead.
So it was mainly just about like all the different technological things. That just going into like the way the webcams worked and like each of those like little text features as she's running throughout the house, and you watch like letter by letter each of the things comes up, and it's like I get maybe that was meant to try to add suspension, but like it just felt really weird. And it's like, why would any text feature ever, like as people are typing out letters, add that? Like that's not something that, one, I don't think that's something that existed, and two, if it did, it fucking shouldn't have. So it's just like, there's so many weird little bits of technology.
Okay, you know what? Let me play devil's advocate. I'm not
Okay.
defending this movie. I did just give it a 6, so understand that it's not exactly my favorite Halloween movie. But I think that was an added cinematic element. Like, I think it was to be like, oh, the tension of what are they going to say? Because the whole time you're waiting for the kid to respond. He is a child, by the way. Very weird.
Yeah.
But he's a child talking to a college girl. Very strange. But he's telling her where Michael's going to be in the house to murder her. And so it's a nice little tension builder, I guess, in a way.
In a better movie, it would have been a tension builder.
Well, no, of course, but I'm talking. Yeah. I'm speaking on the terms of why they did it, not whether they succeeded.
I say another great is the huge like impaling spike on the tripod.
I thought that was hilarious. I thought it was so funny.
I honestly love that scene because it's so goofy.
Tripods are such weapons like that.
And then they just like, it looks like somebody took like baby's first Photoshop and just like cut out an arm with the spike at the end, because the entire time that camera angle just has it like pasted on there and it doesn't move. It doesn't change at all.
Fun
it was
fact,
just so.
Tripods will have like a little hook on them sometimes to put like sandbags to weigh them down so you don't tip them over. But it's like a U shape. It's also, not a spiky stabby stick.
Even if you did have an older tripod that did have the planners, like the stabbings, you wouldn't use it inside.
No.
Yeah, he was trying to set up for a stair shot.
Yeah. So what is he gonna cut up the floor? What the fuck? I mean, not that they're worried about it, but I want to focus more on how there's a whole establishing scene to let you know that Busta Ryhmes is going to do karate later in the movie. That's the only reason. Dude, tell me why else that scene exists. That's it. I've thought about this. I've just gone over it in my head so many times. The scene is set up where she shows up at the door, and it's a bit of a fake away because she's continuing talking about quitting. You don't need that scene because throughout the whole movie, even while she's already there, she's like, I want to quit. I want to quit. She might as well have it tattooed on her fucking forehead. Yeah. We know. So why this scene where Busta's talking to her? You even said it's weird he's encouraging her to stay. It's because it is, and it's because they have to show you that he's going to do karate later.
So I'm like,
and he learned it by watching movies.
I'm almost certain that like,
because that's how you learn karate.
I would be a fucking karate master.
Busta had to have like had something in his contract that was like, no, I have to be pivotal to the plot, because every time they want to drop weird knowledge, it'll just like pan over to him for like 30 seconds and he's just saying
it was just
weird shit.
It was a trend at the time to put rappers in movies. I mean,
I get that.
Even H2O had LL Cool J in the movie. Yeah. So like it's not like it's even unknown to the franchise.
But still, it's just like the idea that like it just keeps like, oh, weird little things will happen, and then Busta will be like, well, you never try until you don't know what you try, then you know, and then you know. And it's like, Busta, what? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That was weird.
When she's talking about quitting, and he's like, whoa. So if you're gonna do this, you gotta go through it. Like, he does this weird little like backwards talk, and then after she leaves, he's like, that was pretty good. Pat yourself on the back. He does
Freddie. Talk to himself a lot.
And it was just like, why is this happening?
Yeah. So like one of the things I fantasize about this movie, because I don't know what you were getting at with that. Is I always think about how Donald Pleasance, died beforehand. Donald Pleasance. He plays the doctor, Dr. Loomis and shit. Yeah. He passed away. Even the movie before that, he wasn't in it, but he passed away, so he couldn't be in the franchise anymore. I have this sick idea that would be amazing if Dr. Loomis was still around and had to put up with all this webcam teenagers bullshit, would make it officially the funniest movie to ever exist.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Tell me that people don't want Dr. Loomis to walk in this house and be like, stop streaming! He's the monster. There's the blackest. I was eating rats. What's going on? I want Loomis in this movie. I want him to be the commentary of this film. But, he passed away, and, they innovated and chose different ways to tell the story. And this was one of them.
One of the things that also kept fucking me up was the mask. Like, something about the way that this mask was formed felt like an old man face.
You have some really weird takes.
Yeah, all of your takes so far have been odd to me.
You know what? One of my things is...
Thank you, please.
The slow-mo for no reason.
Terrible.
Michael Myers is already slow. We don't need to make it even slower.
It's kind of stupid. Even I think it would be more effective at times if you're going to have terrible editing. Why don't you hyper speed moments?
Yeah.
You know? Because it's on streaming. You could have like a lag and then like a quick jump forward. And
that would have
been cool as fuck.
Scary.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But that's not what happened. No.
Or the static where it's just Michael's face. It's like,
dude, there's so many.
There's
so many times though in the movie where it cuts and it's like there's static and then they just show his face and I'm like,
it's the same face. Same
it just comes off
again.
like a cologne commercial or something like
where they're trying
and it's just like the scene and then it cuts to Michael's like
it's almost
dramatic
like somebody
face.
had heard something about like what's the conditioning where they show you a quick snapshot of a thing and it's like, oh, it makes people want that thing or makes
subliminal messaging.
Subliminal messaging. Yeah. It's like somebody had heard about subliminal messaging but didn't know how quick they were supposed to cut it in and just left it for like an eighth of a second.
You just unlocked a fucking memory. Whoa. So funny thing about this movie, holy shit, involving my friend Damon, shout out Damon, he told me one time dramatically that he was watching this movie on his PlayStation 2. I know. And
2001.
And he paused it and he said that he caught a subliminal message and he was talking about this. And you just unlocked that memory for me. And I feel like, wow, who needs a therapist when you have this podcast? Anyway, you want to talk about more of my... No, I'm just kidding. No. But like genuinely, that's so funny that you said subliminal message. It clearly does feel like that. If two different people in my life said that.
It feels like they were trying to do that, but they didn't do it quick enough for it to be subliminal. It's just blatantly there, like, because you see it clearly.
Well, I wonder
every single cut.
Is that because of my 4K TV? Is that because they never thought it would be in HD? No, it's a real question because
it's so well defined.
Yeah,
and
I feel like it's too well defined
because it's during the static, but during that static, it's almost a full second that it is there.
A lot of time.
True.
A subliminal message is supposed to be.
I mean, it's not like this is the
second.
first time I noticed it either. It's just like, it's one of those things.
So it's one of those things where it feels like somebody had heard that and they're like, oh, that'd be a cool way to unsettle people, but then they just put it in for too long, and also the movie wasn't unsettling to begin with, so it just came off. I bet
you that there were people when this came out that thought it was scary.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Maybe, yeah.
It doesn't mean that they're right. I'm just saying there was a point in time where some of these sensibilities might have been considered scary. And I just think that that's so funny. And it should make you feel like it. By watching this movie, you get an appreciation for horror movies in a totally different way.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're sitting there scared of the movie at some point, just remember, at one point in time, somebody was scared of Halloween Resurrection. And one day this movie might be that to you. So don't be scared. It's okay. It's like a calming moment, Like, there are horror movies out there that are financially successful that literally aren't scary the entire time. Yeah. It's insane.
That's also the thing that we were talking about, the little bit of blackface. The kids, the child who she's messaging.
The smart house kid?
Yeah.
Luck of the Irish?
He's
pretty lucky indeed.
Yeah, his buddy is dressed as Samuel L. Jackson's character from Pulp Fiction. Yeah. He doesn't technically have, like, black face paint or anything on, but he's clearly supposed to be, like, he's got the afro and the pick, and it's like that's problematic. That didn't age well. Like, there was no need to do that. There was 1,000 other buddy costumes you could have gone with. Mm-hmm. Were they trying to be topical?
Well, the other thing is too,
even be topical at that point.
No, they came out in 94. This was 2001.
Yeah.
What it really was, I think it was to demonstrate how much of like a loser they were, like how much they were losers.
They'd be that like they would do about like a nerdy thing. Like
yeah. I really think that's what it was, because it's not like Pulp Fiction was a well-liked film, but to dress up as the characters in 01. You got to be like a sexy witch or something, in order to stand out. You can't be doing blackface in general, but
yeah,
at that point for a totally different reason. Lacey, did you have something to say about it? I see your face moving. I didn't know if you were nodding.
This is kind of off topic, but the thing that
No.
pops in my head when we're talking about this is Bo Burnham when he's talking about how he dressed up as Aladdin.
Oh God!
Ooh,
I didn't darken my skin, but it feels weird in hindsight.
That was just going on in my head.
Oh fuck! Yeah, no, there's a lot of shit.
I feel like it was just because it was the early 2000s.
My first Halloween, I went as a recycled Halloween costume for my brother, and I went as a pimp. So, fuzzy hat and all. So, and I was in the 5th grade. I was a 5th grader pimp. Much like this young boy who's talking to this girl who's a full college freshman, and he's a freshman in high school, as pointed out by his nerdy friend. This movie's insane. There's so many fun things to talk about with it. So let's talk about each individual character a little bit. And you know what? Let's do the game we usually do just right now, just like a little short version. If we were forced to put ourselves in a category of one of these characters.
Fuck. I don't want to hear the category that you're going to put me in because it's going to be like...
Why do you think it's so negative?
I just unless it's the chef character, like there's no good characters.
What if that was what it was?
Was it going to be the chef character?
It actually was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like to cook.
Yeah.
I like to.
I could see you
was
trying to fight off Michael Myers with spices.
Not just
like,
that.
Take some fiddle, bitch.
But saying something as absolutely deranged as you would have no fun without me, or Hitler was a murderer because he was a vegetarian. You have insane takes all the time. So yeah, actually that was who I was reminded of.
Okay, cool. I'm down for that. You remind me of the redheaded chick who was gonna
really.
fuck in the
I
base.
see myself as like the disgusting weirdo who was hitting on her the whole time, or Busta Rhymes. It depends on the location. On this show, it's Dangertainment. So, like, yes, that's me right now. But, like, the snarky sarcasm, like, all the negative elements that I might portray is in that character. I'm not afraid to admit that. There's a little bit of Michael in all of us.
I feel like Lacey's Lori. Even though she was
Lori, the one who died like 5 minutes
in
in
this movie for like 8 minutes.
Oh, you know
just
what?
Like full on like slipping your pills and setting up an elaborate trap.
I was
going to
say she's Tyra, you know?
Yeah.
She's just vibing.
You thought that she'd be cut from every scene? Well, she doesn't.
Compliment I've ever gotten.
Yeah, dude, you're just vibing.
Thanks.
You're dealing with a madman all the time, you know?
Also, Tyra, they did you dirty. You deserve to be in this movie way more than you were.
Maybe they did a service to her by taking her out of it.
Tyra
Maybe.
also went off the deep end. There was some drama. I think that
We're talking about 2001 Tyra.
Okay, yeah, no,
Queen Tyra.
yeah, nothing problematic with 2001 Tyra.
Nothing.
I don't follow.
Nothing
things.
at
I don't
all.
know.
America's Next Top Model wasn't even like a big thing. So
Yeah.
I used to love that show.
I mean, I think everyone did. I only saw a couple episodes, but man, the dramatics on that show.
Yeah.
But no, you mentioned something through the no, you did through the Laura thing. Lori. Why did I say Laura? Who the fuck is Laura? Did you say Laura? Is that
I
why
said
I said
Lori.
that? Fuck me. Anyway, that whole opening scene, the retconning of H2O. If you haven't seen H2O, spoilers for a movie that is not 20 years after, but like, well, it is, but it's also 20 years old at this point.
Yeah.
It's not like a new movie. The new one should have been called H40. Anyway, so that movie like ended with Lori cutting Michael's head off in a big dramatic scene. It blew out movie theaters. People were shocked by the ending.
Yeah.
Made magazine covers. Michael's dead. Everybody was freaking out. It was like insane. It was like a celebrity died. The fact that he had finally been vanquished. The whole time they were making that movie, they knew they were going to make another one.
Yeah.
And this is it?
That's everything that I've seen on the internet.
They did
It's just
Jamie.
like, it's like they
Lee
did
Curtis
not
dirty.
need to.
So dirty.
How dare they do her like that?
That was so dirty. So
She
dirty.
has been so strong through all these movies.
The backbone of the franchise.
And then they're just like, oh, you're gone in the first 5 seconds. Bye.
You think that's bad? How they did Donald Pleasance and Curse is even worse, but I'm still upset about. I'm so glad she got to come back later and do it
to
better.
top it all off, we're gonna have her fall in slow-mo.
And like her body will not shift or move as she's falling to the ground, and it'll just look like someone took MS Paint and moved her body.
Which it only looks like she drops like 5 feet.
No, you got to rewatch it, dude.
Those are supposed to be like what, trees down there or something? She
Yeah.
just like dissolves through them.
It's like weird. It's like she's on a lift
Yeah.
She
or an
probably was
elevator
on a lift.
for you non-Brits. She's and it's insane. She looks like a gingerbread man or something. Like her form is so stiff as she's falling.
Which the exposition with the crazy dude in the hospital where he's like Michael Myers born on da da da.
Oh, you think, dude, that exposition was terrible, but the worst one was by the nurse explaining how this movie is even possible. Yes. Like 3 years ago, and shit went fucking down. And it's just like, yeah, I'll like get
in front of her.
Yeah, I get and that. Maybe,
but don't tell her.
At an institution, maybe you would have back talk with people, but you wouldn't do it in front of the patients.
No. She was the realest actress of them all.
Really? I thought she was quite bad.
I didn't think she was that bad.
I think you should go back and watch it.
I'm not saying it was that good.
There's no emotion at all. And it's like, it almost feels like she's reading the lines off camera.
Yeah.
She might have been.
That's what I'm saying.
It felt very much like that. There was a lot of, she's like, no, well, you're going to hear some stories as you move throughout. Like you're a new hire. So like you'll learn some stuff. And then the girl's like, but tell me. And she's like, okay, once upon a time in a
She actually did it worse than that. She's like 3 years ago. Like the beginning of every exposition dump ever.
Yeah.
It's like, it couldn't have been more of an exposition dump if they
slapped it on the screen in
mo.
slow
If they just did like the Star Wars crawl and like all the things she said could have been a Star Wars crawl and been just as effective in what they were trying to do.
She was tired of the bullshit as her character, and she was tired of the bullshit probably on the set of the movie. Mm-hmm. She's like, this is not what I signed up for.
She probably spoke to the editor. They've already filmed all the other scenes, and she's like, it doesn't even matter.
All the other scenes.
And what's insane is like a nurse character in a Halloween franchise are generally a lot stronger than this. You have Octavia Spencer in the zombie movies, or in Halloween 2, they cast the girl that her shoes dropped, that incredibly like iconic scene. There was originally supposed to be a much older woman as the head nurse, but this girl was so charismatic they cast her. And then they have a scene with a nurse, which is like so Halloween.
Yeah.
And then they just give us just the most bullshit I've ever. And then they magically disappear.
Yeah.
And it's just the security guards and the patients at one point.
Which
that's also not realistic. There are night nurses. There's a whole comic book about it, actually.
The second, like the security guard killing scene, you've got like the dude walks over to the
how he just misses the body clearly on the floor.
He sees the head, and then he like takes a step back where he just walked through, and he trips over the body, and it's like, motherfucker, that would have been a lot more obvious than the head. Like half of just all of the continuity in this is like, what's happening? Now there was one bit of continuity that you stopped me on when I started to bust on it, because I was like, hey, why is it that every scene that I see him in, like Michael in, his knife either has more or less blood on it? There's no rhyme or reason to it. And it's because you got Busta Ryhmes running around pretending to be Michael.
Yeah.
I almost said Freddy. That was just actually his
character. He was pretending to be Freddy as well.
Yeah, crazy. That's how.
Because at no point do you actually think his name's Freddy. You're pretty sure his name is Busta Ryhmes.
Yeah, I'm like, Busta, what are you doing?
Yeah. Pretty fucking wild. How
I just assumed Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks were supposed to be setting up this thing. I didn't know that they were playing characters. I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Wow, this movie could have been way more insane if it was actually Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks.
I wish that they would have just like leaned into that instead of trying to make.
I don't, not at all. But that would have been insane.
Yeah.
I think ideally I would have, if I was like actually in the writer's room, been like, go this way or that way with the movie, I would have been like, let's go in the next room and like, let's leave this here.
Because even this room on fire.
Because what's crazy is, even though the movie's wildly entertaining, when you hear the plot, you're like, wait, it's about what? It works better as a Scream movie than it does, like, you know what I mean?
Ooh.
Well, yeah, as a Scream movie,
make it Sidney Prescott's abandoned house, you know? She's watching the live stream at home. She freaks out, knows that it's someone who's actually a copycat killer, which is way more interesting. Could be one of the people inside, could be an outsider, because it's always a copycat. It's there's never a specific ghost face. She runs there, she tries to save them. That's a better movie. If I was working at Dimension, I'd be like, we own Scream. Make this a Scream movie. This is a terrible Halloween movie.
You've got cool little like plot points that like Scream's all about like flipping the script on itself.
Yeah.
So like things like having the people who are setting up the live stream, the fact that they were actually planting a bunch of evidence to try to like make it seem more scary, like that.
Let's quit writing a better movie.
Yeah, that feels like something that you would see in a Scream movie had they just executed it better and made it. Yeah,
it's just a blatant misunderstanding of the source material and the character. Now, like, and like, I don't know why he goes out and gets fresh spices and still eats living rats. He didn't even kill it.
I think that the idea was that like that's supposed to prove to you that a lot of the stuff in the house is fake. Because I think that the streamers.
No, I know, but it's a good joke.
It is a good joke.
Nobody would have thought about it that hard, Zane. You just had to go and ruin it.
I'm sorry, I'm awful.
I was gonna mention afterwards that it's probably more the other way, but it's fine. It's fine.
But yeah, which also the fact that the streamers went through and bought new spices. Why?
Well, they filled the whole house. I mean, it was basically empty. There's not going to be anything at a house that had a crime scene that's relevant to the time in which the crime is committed.
You know my favorite part of the whole movie?
Go ahead.
Let's hear it.
They set up the bodies in the basement.
Oh,
made in Taiwan.
It was made in fucking Taiwan. That delivery, dude. That delivery. I was like, he made a joke about the first Internet Emmy. I was like, bruh, you should have got it for that made in fucking Taiwan hits every time. It is the funniest line in the whole movie.
That's why I'm like, this movie is hilarious.
It's so good. It works so much better as a horror comedy than it does as a horror movie.
Absolutely. I love the fact that like the girl is like, I'm so repulsed by you. The dude who says the made in Taiwan thing, the little redhead or whatever. Yeah. When they're flirting.
I think his name is Jim. I don't remember the girl's name.
Yeah, it does not fucking matter. Death fodder.
Yeah.
When they're like
the one girl who's willing to show her tits on camera.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unfortunately, I'm sure that you know what's crazy is this was directed by the guy who directed I think Halloween 2 and was incredibly involved in the franchise, Rick Rosenthal, and then he made this.
Yeah. But no, like
what happened?
Was he trying to make a parody of
I think he was trying to be current.
Maybe.
I think it was also after Scream. So, Scream was so self-referential, and maybe this was at an attempt at that.
And when did Blair Witch come out?
Around this time, wasn't it 99?
So the found footage was kind of into.
It's all trying to commit to that idea of like what's working right now, what horror stuff's working right now. But it's insane because H2O was such a success. Why wouldn't you just lean more into that?
I just don't get like any of the characters' motivation because like you did have that character who like those two characters fucking like he was trying to get into her pants and she fucking hated him. She was like, this annoying fuck. Why did I get stuck with this dude? And then all of a sudden she's like, hey, want some fuck? And then honestly, they're like down in the hole.
It's the grossest part of the movie because it was produced by Harvey Weinstein, and it's got a no means yes vibe to it. So, yes, I do hate that vibe of the movie. That specific part is what makes it as low as a 6, because I can never get over the fact that this dude is just like a total creep, and she likes him anyway for it. It just feels like a male fantasy and weird bullshit.
Yeah, and then they go down into the hole, and they've got cameras on their fucking heads, and they're like, there's no cameras here. And then instead of setting the cameras down and turning them away, they specifically set them down and point them.
No, they threw them. They threw them away because in the heat of the moment, she doesn't. Yeah. By the way, you show your tits on a website of which doesn't have any age locking on it, you're getting a lawsuit, Busta. I'm just saying, dude.
In 2001.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. 100%. You will absolutely be in trouble for that. Porn was even more aggressive back then in regards to safe locking it.
I'm trying to remember. This was around the time that Funny Junk was still running around, and I don't think there was an age lock for that. Half of Funny Junk was not even funny. It was just porn.
Yeah.
Same with Tumblr.
Yeah, well, Tumblr got rid of the porn stuff, right?
Yeah, but that didn't happen until like.
Well, no, it's not
6 years ago.
But it's not hard. It's hard to sue a company like Tumblr where the users are posting content.
Yeah,
but it's not that hard to sue somebody for producing content that has porn in it.
Yeah.
So Not to be the NCA, or whatever it's called, the NCAA. I'm just saying. No, wait, that's not it. That's not at all.
Organization. I
yeah,
think,
no,
right?
no, it's not actually. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Let's move on. I made an oopsie. Let's move on now.
So how do we feel about the main girl for this one?
Terrible.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And also the beginning. There's always an establishing shot with like, or not step. I mean, there was an establishing shot, but there's always like this idea that they want to reintroduce all the time of like the smart girl who's paying attention in class, unlike everybody else. And then they look out the window and they see something, except they just didn't do the window bit.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that at one point that's why it was in the script.
Yeah.
I know it is. And I bet it wasn't in the scene because they didn't have the room to do it. Like they just didn't have a classroom that would be effective enough to shoot it like that. So they're just like, well, let's keep the school scene and we just won't throw Michael in there.
Yeah.
Because why the fuck else is it there? You want to show that she's smart?
Yeah.
And if she couldn't even scream, why did they choose her? Like, what was the whole
That's
point?
a good question. I don't know if she was already cast by the time they came to that conclusion or what.
Yeah.
And also, fact check all of that, but I'm fairly certain that that's what happened, that she couldn't scream. It could be that they heard her scream after they shot the whole thing and
Which
then
also
dubbed over it, but
have-
I know it's not her scream.
to have the glass explode when she screamed, like,
Damn, girl can sing. I'm going to soundbite that.
like what? Like why even? Like if you got a good scream and like everybody's like, oh shit, like that's enough. You didn't need to make the glass explode. That just felt weird. And then the line, like who are you?
This movie was wild.
I love it.
I don't even know what I want. Like as soon as we're done recording this, I'm gonna hit just erase on my brain and pretend like that didn't happen.
No, you're not. You're going to think all the time.
I'm gonna think all the time
About-
made in fucking Taiwan.
Made in fucking Taiwan. Or that's a killer shot, boy. Good job.
Oh, I love that. That was a good. I like that
Tyra.
one.
And it's like, no, it wasn't. The tripod was in the fucking shot.
Yeah.
And then they kept that angle, presumably, because it's not like he went back and fixed it.
Somebody was seeing blood.
He was dead. So he didn't go back and fix the shot.
What
So
about the shot of Michael Myers getting electrocuted?
Oh, with his
The fucking
crucifixion?
crucifixion. Yeah.
Wild. And then we'll dig into all that stuff. I think we can talk about the deleted scenes and alternate endings in the post. But yeah, I mean, this movie was wild. It's hard to even conceptualize what we watched. At one point, they're smoking weed and they're like trying to be secretive about it, and they forgot they had cameras on their heads.
And then, which that does lead to like probably one of my favorite, just like when they're like, we've got cameras on our heads, and then either one of them like blocks the camera for the other.
That was funny, yeah.
It was that was one of the times that they were trying to be funny that I actually laughed. I was like, good job.
And then like there's other times where they're trying to be like salacious, and like the girl's talking about taking her shirt off to light up 1,000. By the way, if you're only getting 1,000 views for showing your breasts on the internet, that's not worth it. Unless you're making money and you want to do that, then good for you. But if you're doing it solely to get clout, 1,000 is nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We've gotten 1,000 views on one of our
It's not.
videos.
Yeah, it's not. I've gotten
Nothing.
10,000 views on a video in the past. Like it doesn't really mean anything.
And he didn't even have to show his tits. Yeah.
I didn't even have to show my tits.
But he did it anyway.
What if I had?
And that's what content.
Guys, no, I'm just kidding.
Light up 1,000 screens.
Anyway,
Happy Halloween.
but no, there's a weird scene. God damn it. There's a weird scene connected to that I was trying to
we
get to.
1,000 views.
If we get 1,000 views, I will show my tits.
Sign up for our Patreon. We don't have one yet, but
Can that be the first tier?
that'll be the first
If
tier.
you give
Logan's
any money, you can
tits.
see my tits. Promise. Pinky
You
promise.
heard it here. If we set up a Patreon and we don't do it, you can yell at us.
It just cuts to like the content later. I'm in a Michael mask with my shirt off, and everybody's like, "I'm uncomfortable. Stop."
Be me and you doing the
Christ.
truffle shuffle.
They're like, "What? What's up with this
no.
Buffalo Bill looking motherfucker?" Anyway,
Oh my god.
no. So there was a scene related to that though, where like they're talking like, "Take your shirt off, light up 1,000 screens," and Michael's just standing there like,
Yeah, he just fucking.
and then you come to realize that was Busta.
Oh shit! I didn't even.
I didn't even
Because
make that connection.
all the scenes where he's heavy breathing is an allude to the fact that it's not Michael, who's usually fairly quiet.
Wow.
I didn't even catch that.
Ba-da-ba. Ba-da-ba.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't care. I bet most people don't even know that.
No. I just thought they were being fucking weird. I thought it was a bad stylistic choice.
I mean, it is a bad style. It's not. That does not change.
I don't know why. I don't know why Busta would be breathing so heavily either. But yeah.
Well, because he's. I think. Well, I mean, I guess I don't really specifically know why he'd be breathing heavier than most. But it's like in the other scenes with Michael where you can clearly tell it's him. It's not as pronounced or even really a thing. So it does seem like an establishing idea where it's like Busta's already poking around this house. You know that for a fact. So what the fuck? Is it him? Is it Michael? I think it's him based on the breathing.
Yeah. And the fact that he went.
Yeah. He was like, what's up? Hey, maybe he was checking. Maybe he's like, I don't want to get a lawsuit.
Yeah. He's like, titties.
Please don't whip out your titties. Please, dear God. He's like standing there like ready to like run in front of the camera. Like, no. Can't get sued. Man. No, that's not what was happening.
No.
She wasn't going to whip out her tits anyway, which is probably a good thing. You shouldn't be doing that. Not for
they were like screens. Slightly still there. It was like a see-through bralette.
Miss Conservative behind the camera over here.
Right?
Well,
that one T-shirt earlier. She's like,
she's
slut.
Like, that is because they were like, isn't it so sexy? And I'm like, it's a tube top or like it's a like spaghetti strap.
So why did they keep the tube top scene?
Yeah, I don't get that.
All.
Yeah, it wasn't necessary.
And there was a couple of deleted scenes that I still wanted.
Would have helped the plot.
Yeah, and we can get to some of those after. But I'm just saying, like, what the fuck is with that scene? There is so much in here. There's a scene that directly relates to a deleted scene that's really funny. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense in the context of the movie. You're just like, is this...
just happened.
We padding for time here? What's going on? Why is this in here? What the fuck? Wild. This movie was an enigma.
The fact that there's
like
a scene
Busta
that
says,
calls back to a deleted scene.
This is a riddle wrapped inside of a mystery, wrapped inside of an enigma, as the boy said.
Oh God.
You're just defeated, aren't you?
Fucking brain hurts. We're also recording this at midnight 30
and you had spent all week thinking you were going to watch the classic 1978 masterpiece. And instead, you saw the 2001 masterpiece that is Resurrection.
Oh, it wouldn't have been nearly as chaotic or fun as this.
Definitely not.
I feel like this does give us more to talk about. We do get to, because it's like we can't just like dog on the original because
it's
fucking
perfection.
masterpiece.
And also, like, there's nothing to dog on about
No.
it. Like, honestly, it's essentially a bloodless, amazing movie.
It's
like,
so good.
It's not even that salacious.
We would have just been sitting here saying it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite movies ever. Dole. No, I'm just kidding. We'll get to it eventually. So, okay, the Deckard character at the party on pulling all the people in there and they're watching this live stream.
Hilarious. So goddamn every time they cut back to it and there's more people in the room.
And it's weird because it's almost like they wanted, like, just in case you have no friends to watch this movie with, like, just in case,
wanted to give you
wanted to give you people to react to it with as well.
Which also the couple that comes in immediately.
That scene's pretty funny.
Where they're like, he's like, is this that Michael Myers thing? Like, yeah, do you want to watch? No. I'm kind of interested.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let's watch this shit. What's up?
Yeah. And then just grows from there. It's like, it's so fucking.
It's just so. The whole Deckard character in general is pretty much just to be like the internet exists.
Yeah.
And he's not that great in the movie, but it is insanely funny that, like,
I feel like it just exists to remind us that, like, oh, this is being streamed.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
And then that's just
thanks for the $5 dono shit. Yeah, trying to remind people. And, like, the character,
thanks for the super chat.
The character doesn't really need to exist other than to remind you about the internet.
And that catfishes exist. Now, this is a different kind of catfish. It's not an old man trying to steal a child. This
is a 15-year-old boy trying to get pics of apparently a very smart girl in college titties.
Yeah.
Insane. She's in college, and she's apparently very smart, as established by the opening scene, and she can't tell that she's talking to a 15-year-old through web chat? Like, that's insane.
He's convinced her that
He's a freshman in college, not a freshman in high school.
I thought he said that he was an undergrad.
No, I thought he said that he had graduated.
Yeah.
Like he was done with college.
Was that what it was? I thought I couldn't remember.
So.
I could have sworn there was something about a freshman.
Yeah, no, he was supposed to be
no. The friend goes...
Freshman in high school, right?
Yeah, he's a freshman in high school, and that's why it's...
But doesn't the friend make a joke? It's like, freshman, of high school. Like, isn't there like a moment?
No.
I don't know.
I think there is like a moment.
He says
like that.
You're trying to convince her that you're an undergrad. You're a freshman in high school.
Oh, was that what it was? I thought it was like, okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. The whole movie's a fever dream. Let's be honest.
Yeah. It's not like any of the writing actually matters.
Yeah, I feel like nobody talks about this one ever. And it's such an enigma.
Probably for good reason.
I don't know, man.
Everybody just wanted to forget this one.
It's a good lesson, though.
It's a good laugh.
As soon as we got back here, producer Lacey was like, "What does this have on like IMDb or something? Like, what is the internet's hard take on this?" And it's like there are some things that are like 4 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes like 12 out of 100. Voodoo has it is a 4 out of 5.
I still think that has to do with purchasing.
Yeah, they're
what
like,
it is.
they're
I
like,
feel
oh
like
yeah, it's a
4 out of 5.
movie.
What
Like,
up? Yeah,
pick that up. And it's like, no, like, don't do that. Don't lie to people. But yeah,
I think you guys
entire
should watch
internet
it.
is like. It's a sequel to H2O that didn't have to happen because they gave H2O an ending. They gave H2O
and it was incredibly
ending.
final.
Yeah, it was so good. And then they were like, guess what?
Yeah, nah. They weren't going to walk away from a successful franchise, you know? They weren't going to do that. Lacey, any other thoughts?
I don't think so.
I feel like we can talk about we can jump into deleted scenes in just a second and go over some of that stuff, and I think that this was a great experience.
I think
it was an experience.
You don't think it was great? It was not a great experience for you?
If you like Halloween, you should still watch this one.
100%. If
On
you're a Halloween
Halloween,
fan.
it'd make it even better.
Yeah, for sure.
If you want to have a good laugh after all your spoopy movies, check this one out.
Watch this review in its entirety and then watch the movie.
Do it the other way around.
Even if we've spoiled things, it does not matter.
That's true.
Like, everything that we've said will still not, like, prepare you for the wildness that is that movie.
There's so much bad sound design and editing. There are things in the movie that are just like inarguably bad and not well done, and it's so much fun. I love that.
It's like I said, it's definitely an experience. I had fun watching it in the setting in which we watched it. But yeah, it's probably not what I'm ever going to revisit.
All right, we'll be back in a second to talk about some of the extra stuff that didn't make it into the movie, shockingly enough. Hey kids, we're back. And first, before we get into the alternate endings and the special features, because obviously, like, this movie was a total shit show and has a bunch of unused content, I want to talk about the actual ending that made it into theaters. So, at the end of the movie, obviously, Michael is crucified by Busta Ryhmes. Never thought I'd say that sentence in my life. And you know, he's a crispy chicken fried motherfucker, as Busta says, and
so eloquently put it.
Dude, I love that line. And he says it in 2 different endings, not the point. Yeah. They clearly like that line too, if they put it in 2 different endings. But eventually they see that he's all charred. He calls him a crispy fried motherfucker. He gets sent to the morgue, essentially, or whatever you would call it. You know, the mortician's office, so to speak. And the person examining the cadaver, his supposed dead body, unzips the bag. He just opens his chicken fried eyes and is awake and fucking attacks her. And that's the end of the movie. In my opinion, out of all the endings, this one was the worst.
Yeah.
And it's the one that they chose. it is the worst ending.
I know that. So when we were watching it, like, as she's unzipping it, producer Lacey's over here. She's like, it's gonna be the mannequin that was in the closet, which would have been a great fucking.
That is not what I said.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I had already known about some of the deleted scenes, And one of them is there's a car parked out front.
Yes,
and there was a person driving.
Yeah,
it
you thought it was the person.
I hoped it was that person who had the car that wasn't even in the movie. That was my hopes.
Yes. Okay. Also, that car. There's a great moment with that deleted scene. We'll get to it. But yeah, she thought it was that. That would have been a better ending. Although it was kind of a meme that you were saying that because that's how they explained what happened in the last movie. Yeah. So it would have been even funnier if you were right.
Done it.
Just
a second time.
It's like then they would start having police wear like larynx guards around Michael. They're like, he's fucking bamboozled us more times than fucking. Than the Roadrunner. This is insane. Like I can't even handle how much we've been fucked with. Yeah. So no, it's him. He's alive. He attacks her, presumably like with his skin melting off, as if he's gonna put up much of a fight. But hey, whatever. The ones they didn't use. All right, number one. They're in the garage. In this version, I believe Busta died upon the original knife stab. And then I think what happened, I could be wrong. I think what happened is test audiences watched the movie, or maybe producers watched the movie, whatever, because this Deckard ending had to be the original ending. It has to be. Yeah. They built toward it throughout the whole movie. It's so obviously what they were going to do originally. So my question is, like, did they watch it and were like, we need more Busta? Is that what happened?
So
were they like, this ending sucks?
In this ending, what he's talking about is
So what happens is I'm sorry. So what happens is Deckard shows up in the garage that Michael's already. We don't even know how it's happened. Yeah. Because we have no clue. They didn't show us how he got wrapped in these cords originally. But he's wrapped in the cords. He's being crucified. Always important for them to do that for some reason. Deckard busts through the door. I guess he ran there on foot because he can't drive because he's a freshman in high school. Yeah, and
he's a literal child.
He's a child. He's a child. He comes and he saves her in his dumbass costume. She's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm Deckard." And then the movie supposedly ends there.
Yeah, just hard stop.
I think they filmed this, and that was probably like, how does he get here? Like, this is the ending, but like, we didn't think this through, and they're like.
He was at a high school party. I mean, if they really wanted to explain it, they'd be like, one of the high schools like, "Come on, bro, let's go." Maybe. And they'd take a fucking quick drive, and the whole time he's met. I mean, they could have done it well, you know. They could have done it, but they just didn't.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, like he's at a older high schooler's party. There are people there that can drive that are all watching this with him. The
only thing that could have made this great is if they took like a whole entire van and just everybody in that room.
Yeah, everybody runs into the garage and starts fighting Michael. Yeah. The fucking my god. Oh my god, the dude in the football costume like fucking tackles him like a quarterback and shit. It's insane.
That would have made me happy.
That would, and like just fucking linebacker tackle from the dude in the football costume. Yeah, no, that's not what happened. No. So it just says Deckard blah blah blah. The scene ends. Like, that would have been a terrible... If they would have rolled credits there, I don't know, man. That would have actually been pretty bad.
Yeah.
Maybe worse than what we got, now that I'm sitting here thinking about it in context.
Well, what if... So let's add that scene with another scene where it's just the CSIs roll up to the thing
that could have been okay. That would have been better than what we got, but that still wasn't good. But yeah, if you combine those two,
if you just like shove those two together, because it's like
you didn't see what happened to him. You know?
Yeah, that gives you the like her getting out, and then you get the Michael's not actually dead. So that would give you the full side by side. I think that might have played
they
better.
Already had it. They had it. You know, like that's an okay ending. They just didn't ever think to like put those together.
And that's instead, insane. What they did put together was just...
Yeah, but the last alternate ending. What the fuck was that? So it plays out the same way where it's like, he's a motherfucker in baggy ass overalls. And I'm just like, straight up. And then after that, they go to see the body. But which, by the way, would not happen. Like, there would never be a point where they'd be like, there's no like corner.
You could see the body.
Is this the guy that killed your friends? Like, that's not a thing.
No.
So that would not happen. But they do it again. He calls him a chicken fried motherfucker. Yeah. I want to get that tattooed so bad. It's such an iconic line. If made in fucking Taiwan, chicken fried motherfucker. Happy fucking Halloween. All of those lines are so great. But anyway, he says the fried motherfucker thing. Then Michael just starts getting up then and there in front of
strangling
that's
him?
not his MO.
Yeah,
he
no.
doesn't like to attack where there's like a shit ton of people that can like possibly fight him off. He likes to isolate his victims. So it's really weird that he'd choose that moment to do that. And then there's a terrible scene where she takes a fireman's axe and throws it into his head, and it looks like she cut through a bowl of lasagna. It looks so bad.
Yeah.
The special effects with the blood splatter, it literally looked like she hit a fake head.
And then, like, Busta's just like, thank you.
And then he goes on this weird thing. He's like, you a badass kid. It almost felt like he was like improving.
Yeah.
He's like,
that's
you
what
are
I'm saying about every single Busta line.
You are a fucking badass lady with 2 arms and 2 legs, and you fucking stab Michael with a motherfucking axe. You're a bot. Like, it just, the way he says it is like so weird.
Every one of his lines, every time he goes on those weird little tangents, I'm just like, Busta, why are you doing this?
Like, someone let him roll with it.
Yeah.
Someone let him go.
They just like flipped on the
They wound
camera
him up and they just let him go.
I was going to say, are we sure it's not improv for most of his stuff?
But that's the problem. We're talking about the final scene of the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Did they really almost consider letting Busta Rhymes improv?
They sure did.
The end of the film? It's insane.
Yeah,
it's insane.
They considered it. They definitely considered it.
I think it came off that way because it was so terribly written. I actually feel like that is dialogue that he had. Maybe. He read it and like it just didn't deliver. He was like, that's what I think. Or maybe it was like a quick rewrite and he had just learned it or whatever. There's something wrong.
If there's somebody out there who can actually answer this important question, please do.
Please.
Which so these are all the endings, but I want to talk about a couple of these deleted scenes.
Yes, the gift that keeps on giving is this movie. Because if you thought the movie was a shit show, just wait till the special features.
These deleted scenes, the car, like they make reference to the scene that is deleted in the movie. Like there's like, oh yeah, there's this car out front, but there's like, okay, why is there a car out front?
Even say there's even a throwaway line where Tyra's like, I called to get that car removed. And
that's still in the movie.
That's in the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, but why?
The scene that is deleted is Michael driving up to the house, locking the car for
He locked his stolen car.
And then he walks into the house. He wasn't going to come back for the car. He lives underneath the house. Why did that matter?
The goal of this man locking his stolen car like it's his property. Unfucking believable. And the click, they never had to do that. Like, and the thing is they're worried if they remove that scene for that specific reason, like the click of the thing was really stupid. They could have just took the click out and kept.
Just get rid of the sound design.
Just show us him arriving at his house,
because
so
like
we know he's there. Like that was the point, right?
Yeah.
To show us that he got there in some way. What the fuck?
And then there's also the scene where Busta convinces Sarah not to leave. They had an alternate scene where it was actually her friend convincing her not to leave.
I don't think any scenes were necessary, but I thought that was a well-made scene.
That was a well-made scene. It set up the character dynamics between them. It made them seem more like friends, and it seems more reasonable that her friend would give her a pep talk than Busta fucking Rhymes.
But at that point, they were like, okay, but later in this movie, Busta Rhymes is going to start doing karate. And I feel like the test audience was like, excuse me.
Why does he know karate?
What's going on? Why is he acting like he's fucking Daniel LaRusso over here? Jesus Christ, this is music artist Busta Rhymes kicking the fuck out of horror icon Michael Myers.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we looking at? So yeah, I get it. That is insane that they did that establishing scene. But now, like, that scene lives in my heart. Because I know why we spend like almost 4 minutes listening to bullshit.
Yeah.
It's so Busta Rhymes can kick Michael Myers in the fucking face. And some people, a very small amount, not question why. Even though most still are like, why is this happening?
And there's the scene where each of the individual characters are introducing themselves, and they're kind of like, they're basically setting up their character arcs, like how this character or their character archetypes. but it's so fucking boring and all of the characters are so dog shit that they have a 10-minute scene for like each one of them to individually go through and do their shit. But instead they cut it down to like 2 minutes and then ends with like the girl screaming and the Pepsi can exploding or whatever the fuck happened.
That was
that
one
girl
of
can sing.
That was one of two things, I think. I think that was either they have shot a lot and then they knew they were going to cut it down later, which is possible.
Maybe.
Or they realized their characters and their introductions suck.
Yeah.
And they thought, let's spare the audience by removing this. But we'll keep the part where the car gets towed.
Yeah.
For no apparent reason. Were you going to say something, Lazy?
I was.
Go
also,
ahead.
with the deleted scenes, most of them included Tyra.
Yeah.
That's true. She got cut out of this
Why?
whole movie. She really
Why?
did. And
it's like that was probably at that point like
She didn't even get a proper like death scene. They're just like, oh, here's like 2 seconds. Of
yeah,
her.
she
Yeah.
died off camera, which like
Which, like, if she
Why?
has better stuff to do, by all means. Like,
I don't think
either
that
for
was
the
it.
I don't either, because there's so many deleted scenes with her in there. I'm like, she was there for this movie.
I have a conspiracy theory about that.
let's hear it.
I feel that they thought the moment where Busta was telling him where Tyra was supposed to be so loaded and emotional for people watching that we as an audience would be like, oh my God, Michael's going to go kill her. And then we just didn't get the body reveal till later. But what they don't realize is that this movie's writing is terrible and no one ever felt any certain way about anyone dying.
No.
That's my conspiracy theory. Could be wrong.
I feel like that makes a lot of sense that they were expecting people to be like,
he
oh,
literally goes,
like
the one I love, she's in the garage. She's very stabbable. She's right in that garage.
we talked about the fact that we were like, oh, he literally is just telling her to go murder her. But then we
And I
don't get
fully
that like
expected
reveal.
to have the reveal. After he said that, I'm like, okay, we're going to the garage. No, we ended up in the basement. Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Yep.
okay. We'll get the garage scene later. No,
Didn't
never
get it.
comes.
And it just doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, it's also like with it being a fully lit garage, I wonder if they also thought about it in the sense of like, well, Michael can be very well exposed in that. There's not a lot of places for him to hide. So
He doesn't get to be as
he would literally just walk in and be like,
Yeah.
like maybe that was a part of it. But there could have been a scene where she's like looking at the camera, she's dancing, you know, because she danced.
Okay,
She's
he couldn't
dancing the
have
whole
just
scene.
movie.
drop from the ceiling like some of the other stuff.
God, he does
Could've
that too
just-
much.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. Just
if
that,
there was
like-
ever a time to do it, that was the one.
It would have been the time.
That would have been kind of. She's watching the security footage.
Yeah.
She's listening to that early 2000s music.
Drinking
She's
some of her
vibing.
wine, you
She's
know?
America's top model. You know, she's digging herself and shit. And then Michael's just like, and it's to the beat of the song.
Heck, yeah.
No, he pole dances
pole,
down.
yeah.
You know,
I would have given the movie extra points.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Oh.
If his reveal was loaded and sassy, definitely that would have been good. I would have bought 2 tickets for sure. I didn't see this movie. In
I mean,
theaters.
Michael's the sassiest of the slashers.
That's not true. That's definitely gonna go to Freddy, and then Chucky, and then Ghostface, and pretty much everybody except for Jason Voorhees.
Yeah.
So
Jason is.
Jason's literally
Yeah.
the
At the
least
bottom.
charismatic person
Yeah.
ever to exist. But that's okay. We love you, buddy. You're not real, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one other deleted scene though, and it's a weird one because it's so shocking and emotional that it would be fucked up to put in the movie, where Busta is confessing his
He's-
upsetness and his regret, and then Sarah just yeets,
He literally
and
is
it's like, wow, that was real.
well, also it paints Busta in this awful light where you're like, you kind of
They
want to
should,
ignore.
though.
But yeah, they also kind of set up the fact that they're like, kind of probably maybe ignore a little bit the fact that like this is all Busta's
Yeah, no, he
fault.
didn't try to get people killed. That is true.
Yeah.
But it should be a
Yeah,
lesson.
He's like,
It could
I
be
would
an
give back
effective lesson.
every dollar I've ever made in my entire life. And then there's like a beat, every cent. And it's like,
Here's
and
my.
she's just like,
I don't know. I get that it would
and
have
then
been
walks away.
it would have been too hardcore for the movie that it was in. I didn't hate the scene though, and also his acting in that scene was acting.
Here's my theory.
Go ahead.
Her acting in that scene was not acting. They only shot this once, and they were like, that last little bit when she eats off, I felt like she was breaking character, and that's why she turned.
Yeah, you just see her like cut a smile.
Yeah, no, slightly, and then she just turns. And
yeah, I don't know. That could be it.
That probably isn't the reason, but that's my reason.
They probably shot it, and then we're like, this doesn't read well.
I think what it really was is that whoever made the final cut of this movie was Busta obsessed. Whether it be based on audience reaction, like early screenings or whatever it was that led to this cut was very Busta positive.
See, I feel like in Scream, they always get like a really famous person and then kill them instantly. I feel like in this movie, they were like, oh, we've got Busta, use him. Just keep using him. Just every single scene. Doesn't need to be Busta, bring in Busta. When he comes out of nowhere and he's like, everybody's dead. We got to get the fuck out of this house.
When he whispers, everybody's fucking dead.
Everybody's dead.
Fuck.
Get out of his house. Shit. Now. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, we were already in the process of doing that.
But I'm going to defend that deleted scene just a little bit more. It is pointed, though, that he was willing to, like, he openly admits when they figure out that he's, like, faking the whole thing, that he's doing it for the bag, that he doesn't give a fuck about them. They're fucking giant babies, and they need to get over it. It would be kind of pointed at the end for them to go then turn around and be like, oh, he feels bad about it. It's really his fault that a lot of this happened. Yeah. I don't know. In a better movie, that scene totally works.
Yeah.
Not in one where he does judo on Michael Myers. It's just not going to happen. Anyway, guys, is there anything else we want to talk about with this movie? We'll never speak of this movie again. So if you have a grievance, a thought, an inspiration, now is the time because we will move on forever.
I think
silence.
I'm gonna pretend like this review didn't happen. So if in later reviews,
well, it's longer than the movie, so I think it happened.
It's getting there.
I think it might be already. All right, guys. First of all, thank you for watching this on Halloween. If you did, thank you for digging on us this month, checking out our Halloween content. And if you did it, you can go back and watch some. We did House of Wax if you're a horror fan. We did Monster House in case you were a child at the same time we were, and you need that nostalgia kick. It's all here on the channel. Make sure
Halloween special.
The Halloween special, a bunch of TV specials from that are Halloween special episodes of TV shows that you might love, Psych, Invader Zim, stuff like that. We love the spookiness. We did our studio. We're big into Halloween. We hope to make this a tradition. We definitely want to revisit Halloween as a franchise next year as well. So make sure to like and subscribe to keep up with that. And leave in the comments what you thought of Resurrection. Do you think that it's much better than what we gave it credit for? Do you think that it is actually the worst? And I'm wrong, that there is not a worst Halloween movie in the franchise. A lot of people believe that. So let us know down below. And thank you so much for watching. Have a spooktacular Halloween. Thanks so much, guys. We appreciate it.
Bye, guys. Happy Halloween.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.